to another book review with myself, Josh, and I hope you're having a good week. I don't think I said this enough, but I hope that you're having a good week, good day, that you're achieving all your goals, that life is just not so bad all the time, that you're having good moments and you're enjoying little works of art that is in your hand. But of course, if you watched last week's video, I think, depending on when I put it out, if you watched that, then you would know that I took a break from sci-fi. And that's just because sci-fi has been a little heavy. It's large in depth, both emotionally, both physically. It just has so much going for it. And I think I've been on a 4 to 5 book run of just sci-fi books. So I decided to take a break, just a small one, to kind of include some other books and not just, throw a little mix into the works, because there's other genres, there's other works, there's other authors. Let's, change it up for a bit. And one specific genre that I've been missing was romance, specifically Booktok books. Any Booktok book that was popping, and I know most of the time is romance, so romance. I read Game On last time. I had my thoughts. You should watch that if you haven't, which is linked in the bottom or maybe in the top, if I know how to do that. But I finally got back on complete my series goal to King of Sins by Ana Huang, specifically book 3, King of Greed. Now, I think I actually have a copy of this book. This is the second copy, but I actually have a copy of this book that I bought maybe last year for my birthday. And that was because I knew that Enemies to Lovers or Yearning was something that I was really into at the time. I had read Twisted Hate. There were a few others that I had read that made me think, okay, let me do some research. And I think an Instagram post popped up where they were like, if you like this trope, then you would like these books, and this was one of them. And of course, I heard a bit of it. So if you don't know, I'm gonna give you a little bit of preview of it, and then I'm gonna get into my review and maybe some spoilers as well. But obviously not passing away the ending or anything like that. But I think if you read romance books, you pretty much always know how it's gonna end. But let's get into it. So this book follows Alexandra and Dominic. Dominic is a come-up who has made billions on the Wall Street. He's came from nothing, he's worked hard, and he's always had Alexandra by his side. Alexandra, by contrast, has grown up with money, but tutored Dominic when he was still up and coming. And basically, once they met, they were locked in for life, and they supported each other. And more specifically, she supported him through his goals and sort of fell over to the wayside while pushing and helping her husband pursue his goals. Of course, this leads to the present day where it's their 10th anniversary. Dominic is kind of absent-minded. He's not really all the time there. He's always focused on getting money. He's always focused on business. He's always focused on fixing issues regarding the business. And he thinks everything's okay, but obviously Alexandria feels differently. She is unhappy. He's not there. The moments are not there anymore. The money never matter to her, and now with his absence even matters less, because now it's basically just covering up something that isn't really there. But she decides to make one more push. She is loving, she is understanding, so she can understand it when he can't make certain things. But she will draw the line if he cannot make their 10th anniversary trip, which they need to take, which she thinks is going to help them to reconnect and, maybe remind her of the days where they were good, where she wasn't so unhappy because she's kind of put her life on hold. Of course, Dominic is already a forgetful person, but he again chooses business over his wife. And when he gets to his house, the penthouse, at, let's say, about 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, which is usually early for him, he finds it empty. Obviously, because Alexandra waited for him and he never came. And so she decides that that is it, and she draws the line. And that's what makes this book. So essentially, this is a book about a woman that is looking for freedom, looking for love, looking for her dreams, her goals, her ambition, her meaning in life. Again, having given that up 10 years ago when she married Dominic to support him. By choice, of course, but she gave it up. And now it's sort of like he's not there and she doesn't really know herself when he's not there, anyways. So now because she left him, she wants to figure it out. She wants to learn and grow again. Of course, this sudden separation and eventual divorce is something that awakens or opens Dominic's eyes for realizing that actually, hey, he has been neglecting Alexandra. He has not been giving her the many things that he's promised. He's broken so many promises that he had made when they got married, when they were coming up, roses every day, certain things. He had forgotten that basically all this money and ambition and goals that he had put for himself had started with him had now become for Alexandra. And yet as he achieved it and as he aimed higher and as he got more, he didn't turn back and make good on any of those promises. He essentially broke them one by one. And so what you have is a situation of an ex-wife that is free, that is trying to grow, that is trying to rediscover herself, and a ex-husband that is realizing what he lost, what he neglected basically, and what he threw away, and yearning and desperately trying to win it back. And I loved it. So I've read King of Wrath, the first book, and I didn't like it the first time. So I think I took some time off from that. I moved on to another series, still Booktok, but I just moved on to another series. And then eventually I reread it again. Somebody was hyping it up. I reread it again, and I loved it. And essentially, Ana Huang is just always that for me in that she is a comfort read. I don't read it to be put on the edge of my seat. I don't read it to just for the smiles. I don't read it for to be introspective and to see art in the page and in the words, etc., etc. What I read it for is comfort. And I don't think that really takes anything away from this book, but I do understand that not a lot of people would like this book to begin with because it is about 200 or 300 pages of him pining over her, she discovering herself, but also still loving him. And obviously, it's going to be a specific taste in certain people's mouths because they are obviously expecting her to be independent, to push off the husband. The husband's also obviously supposed to be a certain way. They're picturing things that are not exactly happening. And that's just, not going to happen. This is a romance book that sort of always kind of has a happy ending. I've never really read ones that don't have. Besides, I can name like one or two, but majority of them usually have happy endings. So not a lot of people liked it, but I liked it because I enjoy these books. I find them very comfortable to read. They're lightweight, they're predictable and romantic and stereotypical, but I love being in stereotypes and having the author work them in ways that I never knew was possible, like enemies to lovers, like forced proximity, like age difference and stuff. Like I like going into scenarios, having read previous books, and then finding out that this author has somehow reinvented this scenario in such a creative way. And I like that. This was a comfort read for me. Of course, I docked the point, and that is mainly because the last 30 pages, basically this much of the book was left, and I could kind of see that we're accomplishing what we need to. The relationship is there, and I am all for it. But of course, the book had to end in a certain way, and the last kind of two chapters was a 3-month skip for one thing, and then a 4-month skip followed by the ending. And if you know Booktok books that aren't dark romance, they kind of always end in a similar way. Either they're getting married, proposed to, or announcing a pregnancy. And there's nothing wrong with that because every author, I think specific authors not nitpicking on them, but like Ana Huang herself, she'll have a certain framework that works for her fans because obviously she's big for a reason, so it works for her. But we were getting to a point where the book was accomplishing what it needed to accomplish, and of course it had to end. So what did we get? We got both of them. We got a 3 month skip for the proposal and another 4 month skip for the wedding, which is fine. It's whatever. I felt like the book didn't need that because a lot of the times we do end books with people just either getting married or proposed to, which I kind of prefer because either like I don't mind seeing the wedding, but like I know I've been with you for like 200 pages. I know that you guys love each other, that you guys want to be together. I don't need to see a beautiful wedding. I'm not a wedding envisionist as well, so that's kind of lost on me. And in this book, the wedding is like a few pages, and that's kind of unnecessary for me. So just that rushing to end the book on one of the three defaulting points that these romance books end on kind of felt eh. Another point I'll dock is the romance storyline. I kind of felt like it didn't really add anything. He was serving the tension or the dangerous element in this book to kind of motivate us as to, oh, he's here and he's a part of a mafia or syndicate type thing, and Dominic's life is in danger through him. And we kind of get this thing fed to us all the time when he does appear on screen or in the book where he's dangerous, etc., etc. But he was a good character when Dominic was there, kind of expositioning him. Because unlike Stella and Runa in Game On, I want to say, he actually added depth and meaning and different shades to Dominic's character. He added, and so he wasn't just 3 dimensional, but he was suddenly 4, 5, 6, because now we had his past, we had his brother, we had his trauma, we had all these other things, and that was what Stella and Runa, I want to say Stella actually, but Stella and Runa were unable to do, because Runa was just there to say, Stella was like, oh, I hate Tyler. Says like, oh, but we both hate Tyler, but why don't we use him to get him to punish all the other bad rich people? It was kind of like unnecessary, and we could have just like maybe delved into Stella's trauma and then kind of used that as motivation and not have a whole other character to tell us that. And that's what Roman, and I feel like that would have been perfect the way Roman did it in this book for Dominic. But we had the addition of him also posing a threat to Dominic's life, and I felt like that was kind of unnecessary. It kind of just felt like it was a reason for Dominic to miss this big event for Alessandra. But I love this book. Like I said, it's a comfort read from my side. And you're always, if you go into these books with expectations, you're always gonna sort of have these fans that are upset because they want etc., etc. They want A, B, and C. And I pick it up because I know Ana Huang. I know what she's gonna put. So sometimes it just takes some time, some different perspectives, etc. But people go into these books looking to feel other things, expecting the amazing, and not realizing that this framework, this kind of storytelling works for Ana Huang because she's popular for that exact reason. So I kind of think that people that get so upset about it and expect the world are kind of, but I don't blame them, because if it's not your comfort zone and you picked it up to be wowed, sometimes that's a hit and miss. But for me, it's always going to work. I loved it. And of course, King of Sloth not just dropped. King of Sloth is next, but King of Gluttony just dropped, so I will be reading that as well. Not necessarily immediately, but on the docket, I think for this month, I've got Good People coming up, Mistrals, another sci-fi read. But getting back into this because I've heard that somebody really raved about it to me, so I kind of want to get into it. It's just one book, so I thought, why not, before I get back into Red Rising, which will be coming soon. And what is the other one? Obviously, The King of Sloth and The Lie of 16 something by which was recommended by Dan Corder and his brother, kind of during their podcast where they've been talking about the TBN TBR and the potential of a book club, which would probably not be happening. So I kind of put all those things kind of branching out in different ways. But King of Sloth is coming, so you won't have to wait too long for that. And if you have any very, very, very good recommends for Booktok books, any Booktok, as long as it's popping on Booktok, you can either DM it to me on my Instagram or my TikTok or comment below and I will check it out. It might not be soon, it might be 4 videos down the line, but I do fan requests. So it may not be immediately, it may be 4 videos down the line because these videos are filmed back to back. But I do requests because I want to experience what you guys read. But thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you next time.